Population growth is the key issue in the state of Nebraska today. This is an issue that has been brewing since 2002. And we get more specific and be as honest as possible about population growth. We're really talking now about workforce development. Only 5 weeks ago, an economic summit took place in Lincoln, Nebraska. I was there, and we talked about the statistics that surround and depress us as we talk about the people who are leaving Nebraska. Nebraska's getting older. We're having a hard time keeping young people in our state. Stick around. I'm going to give you a solution. Let me say that again. I'm going to give you a solution to this problem. Governor Ricketts, the entire unicameral, all the chambers, economic developers, mayors, listen carefully. There is a solution to this problem that is bringing us down, and obviously it has to be compensated for, so it becomes a tax issue. We also have affordable housing issues, but population is specifically the ability to attract young workers, particularly what I would call young professionals. This is the key factor for success. My name is Lynn Hinderocker. You're right here with me on WowBiz Nebraska, and I have a four-sided, we'll call it a four-dimensional solution to this chronic problem. Everybody's tried all kinds of things. Nothing has really worked. Most people I talk to out in the field, they're at their various communities, and they say, well, we're doing the best we can do, but not a lot has really happened along those lines. It's really a struggle. Of course, our economic development department is going outside the state. Wonderful idea to try to find Nebraskans that have emigrated to other states, Chicago, Minneapolis, etc. Come back, come back. So I applaud them for that. But there's a bigger, more high impact, multi-layered solution that is beckoning us, shall I say. And once again, you're on WowBiz Nebraska. I'm going to explain this to you for the first half of this show. The back end of the show, I'm going to continue what I did the previous week right here on WowBiz Nebraska. I talked to you about this moment I had when I was 16 years of age, and all kinds of interesting things came out of me in a group situation. People have asked me since then, what did that lead you to? What are you doing with that information, or that incredible experience that I had, that I shared with the audience at that time? And I'm going to talk about that. 4 or 5 different presentations that I give that were, like I said, inspired by that kind of breakthrough moment that I had when I was 16 years of age, and wanted to talk about my position and the confusion surrounding the entire world. That was in 1967, I believe, something like that. So here we are in 2021, coming out of the back end of the pandemic. I'm not sure that we're done with it yet, so there is a lot of angst, a lot of confusion, and then, of course, we have this incredible amount of money coming into our state, federal money, ARPA money as they call it, and I believe there's another wave of that money coming in a little bit later on, a couple, 2, 3, 4 months down the road. So the question is, as a municipal planner, as a mayor, as a chamber official, what do we really need to do? What would we do with this money if we could get it, and how helpful would it be? And under those circumstances, we're prone to be a little bit parochial. Well, how about the jungle gyms behind the elementary school? Yeah, that's a good idea. And then, of course, we have that bridge just on the edge of town. We can fix that up. We need to work on that. Yeah, good idea, right? And so all these things are bubbling up, and people are feeling like, I got to go for this portion of the pie. But not a lot of people, I don't think, at least based on feedback I'm hearing, are thinking really big, making a legacy plan, shall we say, for the revitalization, and I say that consciously, the revitalization of this entire state, Nebraska, particularly insofar as how we can attract these young people, retain these young professionals. 3,000 of them leave a year. And as we do that, we're tumbling down towards the bottom, by the way. Not a lot of people know this. In competitiveness, we're number 36 or 37 or 38 in our ability to attract people, keep people, start new businesses, and so on. It's not a good situation that we're in. Everybody knows it. They don't know what to do about it. We'll do our best to see what happens, right? We're really talking right now, we're really talking 25, 30 years down the road. What communities across the state are going to look like and how they'll behave. What will happen to our state 25, 30 years down the road? We're making decisions right now that will be answering that question. So, again, I will share the solution with you right now. I have to tell you that this is so exciting to me. There's so many people that have heard this. They don't know what to do with the information. How do we fund it? How do we act upon it? What's responsible? So I'll move ahead. And I want you to think, as we go forward here, I want you to think about a square. Obviously, four-sided shape here. And in the middle of it is the state of Nebraska, and maybe a little kind of a swirling thing, because it's going to indicate that we're moving around inside the square, as indeed all interdependent strategies work like this, right? So let's say on one side, we'll say on the left side of the square as you're envisioning it here, the first key issue is, of course, finding an environment or creating an environment in your community. I don't care whether you have 6,500 people or 400,000 people. Creating an environment that is actually attractive to these young people, to 25-year-olds. And they want to live in a dense area with maybe 2 or 3 stories. They would like to be able to work and live in the same general area, maybe not even drive. They don't really believe in driving cars around, polluting the environment. So you got to be thinking along these lines. You got to tune into what they're all about. Now, we call this situation urban natural communities. Urban natural communities are defined by urban natural high contrast. I'm going to say that phrase again, very important, high contrast building materials on the exteriors, the facades of the building, as well as on the interiors. Now, I could talk forever about that word, but we don't have time. The idea is wood and metal, opposites, right? Wood and glass, organic and synthetic. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You'll see buildings like this around. There are going to be many, many more, because really, and it's been proven with Nobel Prize winning research, it's unbelievable. When you look at the way these two materials come together, again, I'm talking about wood and glass, wood and steel, wood and tin, organic and synthetic, muted colors with vivid colors. Anytime we have that kind of contrast, it actually energizes and stimulates the brain and stimulates the visual cortex to release dopamine, kind of a feel-good hormone, into our brain. Now, it's a subtle reaction, but it is, in fact, a reality. And it's what some people would call good vibes. You know, I feel good about things, good mood. Very important to these young folks that we're trying to get down there. So think about 2, 3, 4 blocks of urban natural buildings, high contrast building materials on the exterior. Now, that's not the end of it. That's the beginning, but obviously we're talking 6 figures or more in terms of getting these rehabs done, and that's very important to keep that in mind. But it's a long-term investment in looking attractive to your target audience. Not to the 60-year-olds in the city council, but to the young folks that you'd like to move in and make a commitment to your community. Make it gorgeous and eclectic. All right, now, next side of the square would be what we call Nebraska, which is a business ecosystem. Ecosystems are defined by interdependence. People join the ecosystem so they can help each other succeed. This is a very young, contemporary, cutting-edge philosophy. A lot of business people have a little trouble with it because they just want to do their thing. You know, those days are over. That's old school. Speaking of old school, a lot of business people, young people, feel like the bosses in their businesses are too conservative, too traditional, not open to innovation. So that's got to be part of it as well. So business, growing business, innovating within a business, and making the culture inside of Nebraska's businesses. This is what I'm talking about. There's 45,000 of them, by the way. 45,000 that need to deal with this issue and really focus on making their cultures more meaningful, more interesting, more attractive to these young people. Now, in addition to that, I just mentioned these issues with managers and business owners. We got to move into management 3.0. It's a new era. Industrial hierarchical management doesn't work anymore. So we got there is a new way to manage, shall I say, and educate business owners across the entire state, and simply educate them about these young people and what they respond to, how to motivate them, how to manage them on projects, how to work with them, how to get the best out of them, how to give them the feedback they need so that they'll stay committed and work hard for your company. So that's business owner training. That'd be the third bar in the square, right? And then the bottom square, this was brought to my attention by a prominent researcher here in the community. He said, you know, Lynn, we need business succession. We need some way to organize, choreograph, format something so that business owners, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, want to retire. They want their business to continue, right? And they got to find somebody younger who will have the ability, the leadership, the character, the integrity, the vision, so they can move in and take over the business. And there's got to be financing options. So that's the fourth side of the square. Let me restate them now carefully for you as you think about the sides, the four-sided system for revitalizing the state of Nebraska and making the business sector attractive and interesting so that these young people say, you know, I noticed there's some new things going on here. Maybe we'll stick around. Yeah, that'd be a good thing to hear, right? So urban natural architecture and design, which is, by the way, very green, organic, interiors as well as exteriors, urban natural, eclectic design, organic and synthetic within and without, all right? So we've got to have a downtown that looks beautiful with this style of building. Next, we have to have the business sector committed to growing double digit. I'm not talking about a 10% increase in sales. I'm talking about the question, what would it take? What would it take for you to do 10 times the business that you're doing right now? That's the kind of thinking, the mindset that these young people are waiting to get involved with in that kind of a dialectic. Great. So we have downtown, we have the business sector focusing on new forms of growth, digital transformation, et cetera, innovation. The third sector, of course, would be business owner training and certification so they could separate themselves from all the, some will say, hey, I don't care about that, but some will say, we get it, we buy into it, we understand what young people need in our culture to be motivated, to show up to work on time, to do their job, to evolve as human beings, not just employees. And then the fourth line there in the bottom of the square I just described for you would be some form, process for business succession, helping young people find the right kinds of businesses, get vetted appropriately, and meet business owners across the state of Nebraska and possibly take over their business with some financial support as well. That's the four-sided system that surrounds every fundamental problem in the state of Nebraska. I want you to think about it carefully. It's a square. It's not easy. It's going to have to be repeated. Not every community will buy into every single aspect of this square, this revitalization formula. But let me tell you, it's a good answer. It deserves funding, deserves examination by everybody in your community. I'm Lynn Hidrocker on WowBiz Nebraska. We are here sharing key trends and key ideas with leaders of communities across the entire state of Nebraska. I thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it.